Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Kopan Monastery.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's a good one.
What?
It's a good one.
It's a great one. I love it. So let me describe it. So the format is more of a, it's not quite a panorama, but it's a very wide shot, very wide scene. Cropped that way, or that's
It was shot as a multi-pano kind of stitched together in Photoshop.
yeah.
So.
Okay. It looks like it's in Italy. What country is this?
If that's Kopan, it is in Nepal. It's in
Nepal.
It's Kathmandu.
I am absolutely dumb. You know.
In fairness, the monastery looks different from the rest of Kathmandu.
Okay. Just the colors. Okay, but anyway, so now that you say Nepal, I can see some of the little anchors, but it's like you're standing on the top of a hill, looking down across the sort of garden grounds with fountains and stupas. I guess those are stupas. And on the right, you have like a white building. I guess this is what made me think of Italy, white with sort of cream trim, I guess. And they're below, down the hillside. It could be villas, but it's trees. It's coniferous trees, deciduous trees. And then in the back, you have a large city. So do you need to look at the photo, or you can remember, like, why would you put this as this second image? Is this a stock image, or is this a completely different?
Nope. This is much more recent.
Okay.
So, this is probably more in line with the sort of things that I shoot these days. I like landscapes, especially, multi-image stitches. You can do a lot of cool things. It's very easy to do now with software. So, it's good because I shoot micro four thirds now, which is a very small sensor.
Right.
So, to get more resolution, sometimes you just need to shoot with
Are you an
more
Olympus
frames.
man?
Yes. I am. Yeah, Panasonic
Nice.
can go to hell.
Okay. We have strong feelings, yes.
Although Olympus doesn't exist anymore now, they're OM Solutions. They've rebranded.
Okay.
So there is no such brand as Olympus. They're gone.
Okay.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this scene. I suppose it also we can depart a bit from photography for the moment if you want to, because it's more about travel
Let's
and
just
about
talk-
living in
let's
Asia
just talk, yeah.
and all that sort of thing. So. I do love to travel. It's basically the main reason that I left the U.S. was, not that I wanted to be away from America for any particular reason, just that I wanted to see the world and, do other things and places and all that. So I like to travel, and being in Asia, it's very easy to get to all kinds of crazy places. So when I first showed up in Hong Kong in 2013, I was dashing off practically every weekend to, wherever I could find. And so fairly early on, I made a journey to Nepal. I didn't do it in a good way. In fact, it was a stupid idea, but I didn't know any better. So I basically just went for a long weekend to Nepal, which is far enough away that you shouldn't do that.
Okay.
And I also didn't experience any of the hiking or the mountains or all the reasons that you actually go to Nepal. I didn't have a guide, no Sherpa.
I have to interrupt for a second, because
Sure.
do not beat yourself up, because one of the best things, when I moved to Hong Kong in 2003, so when you were starting your journey in photography or stock photography, that's when my wife and I landed in Hong Kong. And one of the reasons why we picked this city above all the other cities was its place. And how far is the flight? 6 hours?
At least, yeah.
Okay.
It might even be more than that. I think I stopped over in New Delhi, so I couldn't even. You can't go direct from here, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a bit of a hike.
So one of the ideas of us coming to Hong Kong was that, look, it's such a hub and it's such a great place to be in. So you went for a long weekend to Nepal. Super rock star maneuver, right?
Thanks.
So for one of my birthdays, my wife took me to Manila for dinner.
Yes.
Like,
Like
we went
you
for
do.
dinner and
Of
came
course.
back. Like, how it's
Yeah.
just kind of, anyways, back in the day when we could travel.
Yeah, of course. Tier.
So you went to Nepal for a long weekend, and how would you convey to somebody who's listening to this, like, if you were to put a seed in their heads to say, yo, the world is humongous and beautiful and whatever you want to say, like whatever drew you out into the world, how would you shape that seed?
I think after I came home and I was just, ruminating on the experience and everything, the one thing that really stuck with me was just the idea that Kathmandu was a real place that you can go visit.
Wow.
Growing up in America's very insular. We have everything we need. There's really no reason to leave, so most people don't. So, I hadn't traveled a lot growing up. And so someplace like Kathmandu, Nepal just seemed like an abstraction.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can see photos, but clearly there's no such place and you can't go there.
Yeah.
Right. But it is a real place and you can go there. And I did. Yeah. And so that was the most interesting thing to me is that, if you'd told me 10 years prior that, I was going to visit Kathmandu, I would have been like, okay, first of all, where's that? And second of all, no, I'm not.
Over a long weekend.
Right. Yeah, exactly. By myself from Hong Kong where I live.
Such a porn star.
It's just silly. So, but the trip was not restful at all.
Okay.
Kathmandu is crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bonkers place.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that like this is their capital city.
Okay.
Right. And it's like on fire. And I was there right after the earthquake, so everything was even worse than. I suspect it wasn't great before, but it was even worse then. They were rebuilding it literally as I was there. Right, they were passing stones around and rebuilding everything. But it's noisy, it's dirty, it's chaotic. Yeah, it's bustling and busy, and it's interesting and vibrant, and I think relatively safe. It was an interesting experience, but it's absolutely chaotic and nuts in the city.
Yeah.
So I spent a few days just kind of walking around. I didn't really have a good plan. I was by myself. I was just looking down interesting streets, wandering, walking as far as I could, and just seeing if I could stumble on anything interesting. And then I think. Maybe in one of the few moments when the Wi-Fi worked at the hotel, when the power was actually on, I just tried to look up interesting, things to do within the city, and I found this Kopan monastery. And I think it might have been my last full day that I was there, and so I, got a taxi to take me up and leave me there for a while. And it was just, the experience was so starkly different from everything else.
Right.
Because it's at the top of a hill, as monasteries tend to be.
Yeah.
And it's like you see in the photo, it's completely serene, tranquil, calm.
Yeah.
There are little like monk kids in their robes running around. Like it was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It was everything that Kathmandu isn't.
Okay.
So the juxtaposition of those two scenes was just incredible to me, that within the city you could have these two extremes. So, it was my favorite thing that I did while I was there for sure.
Okay.
It was the best time that I spent. I'm grateful for the chaos and everything that I experienced because it was great to be in that environment and to have those experiences. But, even after just a couple of days, getting away from it, I needed a vacation from the vacation, and that's what the monastery was. So I think that's my lasting memory from that ridiculous trip that I didn't plan out well, but I got this one good shot out of it that I really like.
No, it's stunning.
Yeah.
So the podcast is a reflection of where my interests are, and I kind of ask people to join that I think would be interesting, and then we kind of start finding where are the overlaps. So a lot of people shit on their countries by saying, well, people don't really travel. Well, maybe people in Europe aren't like that, but most people in Canada don't really leave.
Yeah.
And most people in the US don't really leave. And most people tend to be based in where they are.
Yeah.
And something about your brain, your DNA, your experience sort of said, well, I'm going to look beyond. And within Hong Kong attracts all people who have that in them in a way. Like it was like that for me, it was like that for you, it was like that for Rachel. And then you have this impulse to go to Nepal. Now, have you been back? How many times have you been to Nepal?
Just the once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I should absolutely go back whenever we're allowed to do that again. Because it would be good. It would be nice to go back and not stay in Kathmandu the whole time.
Okay.
I'm not really a mountain climber, but certainly getting out,
Sure.
And doing some of the more nature-based things, I think would be. That's the principal reason people go there. I think.
Yeah.
So if I go back, I think it would be probably to have a very different experience.
Yeah, of course. You want to move on, or do you want to stay on this one?
We can move on. I have absolutely no idea what the third photo is.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
We're both discovering it. That's great. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.